Hey, this is Brian with worshiptutorials.com. Today I have a review for you of an Eastman acoustic guitar. I'm actually really excited to review this guitar because if you have followed the channel in the past, we have reviewed an Eastman before. We reviewed the T386 semi-hollow electric guitar that they make, which is like a Gibson 335. And I actually really liked that guitar. I owned it for a while. We compared it with a 335, so there's a link below to see that video. And that guitar, in my opinion, compared very favorably against the real deal Gibson 335. So I knew that Eastman made really nice acoustics, and I've wanted to try them for a long time. So we finally got my hands on one. This is a E10 SS. So this is a slope shoulder dreadnought. It's got Adirondack spruce top, mahogany back and sides. So if you know acoustic guitars, then you'll know that this thing is inspired very closely by the Gibson J45. It's a lot of the same kind of construction. So a little bit about Eastman. These are handmade guitars, very high quality. They're made in Eastman's own factory in China, but they're made again by hand using a lot of the same construction methods as, you know, a Gibson in Memphis would be made. They're kind of like buying a Primo guitar without the Primo price tag. This one we got from Eastman installed, and this is an option you can do as well. We had this one installed with an LR Baggs Anthem pickup system. I'm a huge fan of the Anthem. It's my favorite acoustic guitar pickup. So I'm gonna play this thing plugged in as well so you can get an idea of what it sounds like plugged in with an Anthem. Okay, so let's talk about the specs of this guitar just a bit. Like I said before, it's Adirondack spruce top, mahogany back and sides. You've got cream binding around it. I really like this sort of subtle, I don't like acoustic guitars that are too blingy, but I don't like them too plain either. And I think this guitar is just like a really classy looking acoustic. I like the binding, and it's binding on the front and the back with this sound hole binding. I really think that looks classy. Unbound neck. We've got a ebony cap on the headstock here. That's actually a maple inlay for the logo. Looks really good. It's not just a plastic logo or painted on or anything like that. It's real wood. All of the hardware on this guitar is chrome, so you can see the tuners are chrome. It's got these really kind of old school open back tuners. I really like those. They work really well, super smooth, holds tuning really well. I have no complaints about those. Inside you've got hand-carved scalloped X bracing. The bracing of a guitar is really that in combination with the shape of the guitar and the woods really gives an acoustic its unique voice. So a well-made acoustic guitar is going to use high-quality woods for the top and the back. And this is all solid wood construction. It's not laminate, anything like that. And then the bracing, the way the bracing is done, is also gonna make the guitar sound the way it does. So the more the top vibrates, the more tone you're gonna get out of the guitar. The louder it is, the richer its tone. So scalloped X bracing is a type of bracing that allows the top to really vibrate and move. And when you play it, you can feel it. You can just feel it resonating against your body. And it gives the guitar its voice, and this guitar sounds very good as you're hearing from these samples. I would describe these frets as sort of kind of a vintage style. They're not really small, but they're not jumbo as well. One thing about this guitar and the other Eastman guitar that I had, the fretwork on this is just perfection. It's so buttery smooth. There's not a single sharp fret end. The frets are, they're very, very smooth frets. You can bend around and it just feels kind of like butter on the strings. And so whoever's doing the fret work and setup work at Eastman, really they know what they're doing. And this is, it's not just a one-off. This is the second guitar from them that I've had my hands on, and it feels great. The neck is a really, really comfy shape. And the finger, the edge of the fingerboard is kind of rolled, which I like. That's something that you get in a higher end guitar. It's not sharp on the edge. So when you buy cheaper, more budget friendly guitars, one of the reasons that they are cheaper is they don't spend time, finishing off the way the neck feels. So you'll often have sharp fret ends. You'll often have the edge of the fretboard itself is sharp, and that's where your hand is. This is what you interact with on the guitar the most. In my opinion, the neck, as far as the way a guitar feels, is the most important thing. And really, there's no substitute for you going and playing a guitar and feeling it for yourself. But if you want to take my word for it, this thing feels great, and the neck is super comfortable. So they really did a great job making it feel kind of like worn in, played in. The guitar has a dual action truss rod, which I like. That means you can get a lot of adjustability out of it. The setup on this guitar was really good coming from the factory. So one of the things that I like to do when I get a guitar in is check the setup, check the neck relief, the string height, the intonation, that kind of thing. And this one was set up really, really well. I wouldn't really do anything to it. I would just pick it up and play it. So one thing I love about the Eastman guitars is that they have a nitrocellulose finish on them. So again, on your more budget-friendly guitars, you're going to see a poly finish on the top, and a nitro finish is sort of a more vintage finish. It's what was done, back in the 50s and the 60s a lot. Maybe not so much 60s, but 50s. And on your higher end guitars, it's the kind of finish that you're going to find, like the higher end Martins and Gibsons will have a nitro finish. And if you're going to buy a more budget friendly guitar, like I said, it'll have a poly finish. The nitro finish is going to wear and age differently than the poly finish. It's going to have more of a natural patina to it as it ages, which I really like. And the other thing about it is a thinner finish, so it lets the guitar breathe a little more. This comes into play, in my opinion, more with acoustic guitars than electric guitars, because with the acoustic, the way that the guitar breathes and vibrates is what gives it its life. With electric guitars, it's a little more, has to do with the pickups and, the bridge and that kind of thing. And everything that the string touches, but with an acoustic, it's more of a holistic experience. So, the higher end appointments you can get throughout the entire guitar, the better that the guitar is going to sound. So both the nut and the saddle on this guitar are made out of bone, which is another higher end appointment. You don't find that on more budget-friendly guitars as well. And like I said earlier about electric guitars, everything that the string touches has a big, big influence on what the guitar sounds like. So the tuning pegs, which are not plastic, These are wooden tuning pegs. The saddle, the nut, the tuning machines, everything that the string is in contact with is going to have a big effect on the sound of the guitar. And again, like I said, with the acoustic, the rest of it makes a big impact too. And this is all really, really high quality stuff. And you can tell when you play it, it feels really good. It feels like a high-end instrument. It does not feel like, you know, what you might think of traditionally as a made in China or made in, you know, Korea, Indonesia, that kind of thing instrument. It feels like, you know, like you go into a shop and go to the high-end section in the back and you're playing the Martins and Gibsons and Taylors. This guitar would hang with any of them. I'm quickly becoming a humongous fan of Eastman guitars. I've interacted with Eastman a little bit as a company, and I can say that their customer service is excellent, very responsive, very polite, really nice people to deal with. But what I really think that Eastman does that nobody else is doing is offer a high-end guitar, like a premium guitar as far as its construction, its materials, its fit and finish, attention to detail, for a budget price compared to other guitars that are in its class. So like I said, this guitar retails, I think it's for like $10.99, which includes a really nice hard shell case, by the way. You get that with it. And I would put it against guitars that cost 2 or maybe even 3 times as much. And I think if you would play it in that situation, the only difference that you would notice about these guitars is right up here, is what is on the headstock. If you are in the market for a high-end acoustic guitar, like a Life or a Keeper acoustic guitar, but you might not have the budget for something that says Martin or Gibson or Taylor or whatever on the headstock, definitely check out the Eastman line. They have, so like I said, this is going to be like a J45 style guitar. They have Dreadnought style guitars, they've got double O's, they've got triple O's. So if you're into acoustics, you're going to know what all those mean. They have guitars that have, you know, mahogany back and sides, rosewood back and sides. They kind of have any combination that you might be looking for in the acoustic guitar range. So definitely check them out. I think you're really going to like what you find, especially for the price. But even, you know, not even considering the price, I think you're really, really going to like Eastman acoustics if you can get your hands on one. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.